all the principle that specifies the nature, toxicity, safety precautions to be taken when handling the compound. So this area is dealing with so much chemical. You have to have a good knowledge and you have to eager to know when you are using any chemical there. What are the nature, toxicity, safety precaution to be taken when you are handling or working with the compound or the chemical. And where you can get it? You can get it obviously from the safety data sheet. Even after reading safety data sheet, if you have any questions or anything, you can call the company, contact the company and ask questions. So laboratory must have a method of disposable hazardous wastes. So healthcare facilities often contact this to waste management company because they are generating lot of chemical waste also. In addition, those are the biohazards, 100%, but there are a lot of chemical high volume waste in addition to other biohazard waste like you are generating every time working in the lab. Every instrument used in the laboratory should meet electrical safety specification and have written instructions regarding its use. These instruments mainly needs the electricity. So you have to make sure everywhere the plug points meets the criteria because these are the high powered things. So whenever they're doing it, if you are putting what is the capacity from the outlet, generally these are not our duty, but yeah, if we change the instrument anytime, this is a power, this power outlet is not working, I'm going to put in another one. So you have to see which one, otherwise is going to be machine is going to be burned or damaged, and these are very high costly machine. Chemicals are stored in approved rooms and only in storage cabinets that designed for this purpose, like the alcohol and flammables. You know what is this mean? What is this symbol mean?
Flammable.
Flammable.
Huh?
Flammable.
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 Flammable. And what
Yeah.
this means?
That's a toxic. It will cause
Toxic.
toxicity in the stomach time that it will.
Other toxic materials.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So when you are going to use the xylene, I am going to read this one xylene. Immediately in the safety data, these two signs will come. So immediately you know, oh, this is flammable and this is toxic. And then you have to read all the biosafety data, the SDS, and then you have to know what is happening. So it says flammable liquid and vapor, harmful in contact with skin, causes skin irritation, harmful in inhale. So as per this condition with the sign and all the notes, you have to take your precautions. That's why a wide range of chemicals that are potentially dangerous are employed in pathology laboratories. That's why they have already told you the formalin, xylene, there are a lot others. The risk associated with hazardous chemicals may be controlled by having adequate knowledge and the properties of these substances and protective equipment and preventive measures available. So obviously, if you read this, if you know, have your knowledge, what are the nature of this compound, what should be that they are going to tell you everything, what protection you are going to take. If you take the proper protection, we use the protect equipment, like if you need a shield, if you need the biosafety cabinet, or you the chemical hood, whatever you need. Mainly, you have to work in the chemical safety hood here. So, chemical safety hood, how you have to dispose of, how where you have to keep it, everything, how you are going to dispose it. So, if you know all the knowledge, it's fine. You can work nicely, but you have to know all the to prevent any accident or any health damage. Always follow your WHIMIS protocol in the lab. This is very important in this area. So chemical safety and humus. Chemicals can be irritant. It can cause inflammation, especially your eyes are open, your skin are open, and you are breathing in. So your respiratory passages are open. So these three areas are can be exposed easily. Eyes, skin, and respiratory. Because you cannot hold your breath to do the work, you are going to die. So you have to take the breathing, right? So that's why you need the proper PPE or protective things. The alkaline substances, what are the alkaline substances? Acids and dehydrating and oxidizing agents are corrosive. Acids are corrosive, you know that, and can damage or destroy living tissues. Acid can eat, burn, and destroy immediately. So concentrated acid is going to dissolve the tissue. If you put your hand or any area in the strong hydrochloric or sulfuric acid, immediately after some time you can see the skeletal, all the muscles and everything. So you can see that one skeletal. So is this a highly destroying in nature? They destroy the living tissue. Same can be sensitizer, cause allergic reaction in the substantial proportion of export substance, the formaldehyde, which is mainly one of the main fixative. This may occur at work because of the high exposure level I told you before. Formaldehyde is a prime example. I got a lot of exposure at the time. We don't have that much knowledge when you are doing the tissue fixation and this and that. We didn't wear the N95 mask. We just wear the regular mask. We got exposed. Now, that time in our time, we don't have that much safety precautions. But now we understand. But till survive. But yeah, now you see what much whenever developing all the things we use SDS, occupational health and safety. So you can see how much it was really harmful for our body. Carcinogenic chemicals, chloroform, chromic acid, dioxin, formaldehyde, nickel chloride, potassium dichromate, dyes, oramino, basic fusing, congorate. These are the different types of dyes we are using in the histopathology lab, along with some chemicals like chloroform, that is one kind of fixative, or you need to do the tissue processing, chromic acid, dioxin, formaldehyde, nickel chloride, potassium dichromate. These are all different types of fixatives. So the chemicals needed for your tissue processing. Okay. Next, we are going to fixation. First essential step, tissue must be fixed ASAP after death or removal from the body to slow down decomposition. So this is the first step. Why? You need to fix the tissue so that there is no decomposition, because always there are some bacteria, microbes, so that is harmful or normal or something, or cells, they are not getting the all the nutrients and other things when they are in the body, right? So what they are going to do, they are getting not energy source to keep them alive, so ultimately started rotten. So you have to fix ASAP after death or removal from the body to slow down decomposition. The amount of fixative should be 10 to 20 times. This is very important question. Okay. Why you need to fix the tissue ASAP to slow down decomposition? What is the amount of fixative? 10 to 20 times of the bulk of the tissue and held in refrigerator. So you have to put the fixative and you can put in the refrigerator. The tissue should be all covered because you have to close with the cap so that the fixative is not going to be, because all the fixative has kind of that it can evaporate as a gas. So you have to have 10 to 20 times of the bulk tissue fixative and you have to put in the refrigerator. Last specimen may need to be sliced open the specimen so that fixative reach all areas. You have a huge bulk tissue. Even you put in the fixative may not reach all the layers of the specimen so that all the layers of the specimen, so the entire specimen, include the deep inside, can be fixed. So that time you have to section or slice open the specimen so that all fixatives can reach all areas. Fixation is affected by the tissue type and size. So what type of tissue you have and what is the size? So this is another question. Fixation time is dependent upon tissue type and size. When it's dense and fatty tissue is natural, we all can think it take longer to fix. Specimen with capsule, poor penetration, so it takes very long time to fix. Larger specimen should be left for a long time, not only 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. It has to keep it for longer time so that everything can, all the fixative can go inside and tissue become fixed with the open or slicing or opening the tissue. Then the requisition might have space for the documentation of the ischemic time by the surgeon obtaining the specimen. Ischemic time means they are doing the time when the specimen is removed from the body until the time it is prepared and placed to the fixative. So that is the total timing. Because when the surgeon are doing the removal of the tissue, immediately they cannot do that, right? So that is the time of the specimen from that time the placed in the fixative. That is called the ischemic time. Information should be available on the laboratory for review. Why fixation is important? What are the effects of fixation? Preservation, number one. These all points are important. Maintains the tissue constituents in a lifelike manner. How the tissue is composed, what are the structure, everything is going to be preserved as a lifelike manner. That is the main objectives of the fixation. Autolysis. Autolysis means the cell breakdown of the cells or tissues, prevents decomposition due to action of the enzymes, because in the body there are different types of, already when you are taking the tissue out, all the active ingredients of the cells are there, so when they are not getting anything they can do their process and called the decomposition of the tissue. What is called putrefaction? That is important, it comes in question. What is the autolysis? Putrefaction, hardening. So these each terminology is very important and is going to come as question in different way. When is a breakdown of tissue due to bacterial action? It's called the putrefaction. Hardening. The hardening effects of fixative will allow easy manipulation of soft tissue. So you are doing the hardening the tissue is very soft tissue, you cannot cut it. So you have to make the tissue little bit hard with the fixative so that you can cut with the very, very fine knife or blade. Is that is these all steps are important for fixation. So autolysis means fixation prevents autolysis. Fixation prevents the breakdown of tissue by bacterial action. So once the tissue is fixed, bacteria cannot do anything. But tissue is not live anymore in that it's a life-like manner. It's fixed like a life-like manner, but it's not live in functioning. It cannot do, the tissue cannot function anymore. It's fixed. Then optical differentiation. Optical differentiation means visibility. It aids in the visibility of different tissue components. What type of cells are there? Is the columnar or stratified or myocytes or any change in the shape, size of the tissue or the cells. So it gives a better visibility. That is the optical differentiation. Enhanced staining means fixative can react with some dyes and then acts as a mordant. You guys know what is a mordant means? What is the mordant means?
Bridge
What bridge?
between the stain and the cell wall.
Yes, yes. Between the help in the bridging between the dye and the cell wall or or the tissue. For the microbiology, in the cell wall, in the tissue, also in the cell. So modern. This is another question. Which is modern? What is the function of the modern? We already discussed in the gram stain in microbiology. Modern is very important. It's not only for the gram stain. You have to remember the importance of modern. What is modern? How is acting? Fortifies the tissue. What is fortifies from the protection for the other steps? That means it makes the stabilize the tissue so that during the following steps it doesn't get damaged. What fixative is going to use? Usage of fixatives in pathology laboratory are based on the nature of fixatives, obviously corresponding the type of tissue, the cells or tissue constituents to be demonstrated, what they are looking for, this one or that one, formaldehyde or what is this one, I cannot remember, I cannot see it even, Bowens fluid or pictic acid. Okay, okay. So fixation types, there are five major groups of fixatives classified according to the mechanism of action. First one is the aldehydes, which is most widely used. And what is that? Formaldehyde. This is the most commonly and widely used fixative. There are a couple of other fixatives, other four fixatives. Mercurial, you can understand there is mercury in there. Picrates, those are the very highly toxic or dangerous for different aspects. That's why there doesn't use that much. It's more toxic or dangerous than the aldehydes. Aldehyde is also toxic, but these are very toxic. Picric acid, if you cannot roll it properly, it can burst. You have to put it on the water. Mercury is not good for your health. All everybody knows the effect. Alcohols, oxidizing agents. Those are the skin irritant, can cause skin damage. So aldehyde is male, is the formaldehyde. The This is the only gaseous aldehyde and dissolved in water to saturation. So formaldehyde is in the, there is the difference between what is the formaldehyde and formalin. You cannot use formaldehyde. Formaldehyde is the gas state. So you cannot use the gas to fix a tissue. So when you dissolve this gas formaldehyde in a water to saturate, is called the formalin. So what is the saturation? 37 to 40% formaldehyde. If you put in the water, then it's going to make formalin, and that formalin is called 100% formalin. So what is the difference in the formalin? How much formaldehyde you have?
37 to 40%
So
weight per volume.
100% formalin doesn't mean 100% formaldehyde. These you have to keep it
Yes.
very clear in your brain. This question comes several times, especially for the ML POW. So formalin is made up from 30 to 40% of formaldehyde and water. So what is the rest of quantity of the water?
So if
What
you're
is the
using 40%, ma'am, of the formaldehyde will be 60% of the
Good,
water.
good, good,
Yeah.
good. So it's a gas. You have to use 40% of formaldehyde to dissolve in the water to make a formalin solution, which is considered is 100% formalin. Okay, everything is clear, everyone's head. This is very crucial. These questions comes in several, and I am 100% sure MLP raise these questions. I don't know about your D12. For fixation, what you are going to do? Now you have formalin. You are using formalin, non-formaldehyde. But what is the basic composition of the chemical in the formalin? Is the formaldehyde, and its percentage is 37 to 40%. Clear to everyone?
Yes, clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, not for everyone. Two people.
Yes, miss. Clear.
Clear, ma'am.
Yes, miss, it's
Okay,
clear.
okay. So for fixation, because I don't want you to make any mistake in the exam on this one, because this is very important. For fixation, you have to take one part of formalin, not formaldehyde. Now you have the formalin ready in the solution. So you take one part formalin is usually diluted with 9 parts of water or vapor. So what is the dilution now? Tell me. You take one part of formalin and then you add 9 parts of water.
It's 1/10.
Yeah, 1 is to 10,
110.
What is the ratio?
1 is to 9.
1:9.
Which one is which one? What is the ratio water to formalin?
9
One
to
is
1.
formalin, nine is water.
9
Or
is to 1.
yeah, that is the working formalin, okay? Not the stock or 100% formalin, right? You are taking from 100% formalin to fix the tissue. You are making the working solution. That is
Yes,
1
ma'am.
is to 10, right? So for fixation, you are taking one part of formalin is usually diluted with 9 parts of water. This produce 10% vapor, so 10%. So you are diluting in 1 is to 10. So from 100 you are diluting, it's a 10% neutral buffer formalin solution. Is that clear to everyone? So now from 37, what is the formalin concentration? If it is 10% only, 3.7 to 4% weight by volume. Any question? Raise your voice if you have any question. Otherwise, I think you all understood. Clear? Okay. So ultimately, you are making the formalin, which is 10%, which is required to fix your tissue. Okay. Buffer salts are added to achieve neutral pH. So pH 6.8 to 7.2. Fixation time is 24 hours at room temperature. It fixes tissue by cross-linking between amino acids of protein, thereby making them insoluble. This is you. It's not that important how it fixes the tissue. If this formaldehyde or formalin fix the tissue, they make a cross link between the amino acid protein and then they become insoluble. You may not need to remember this one. This one is a little bit high chemistry, but you have to remember the pH. Try to be at neutral pH 6.8 to 7.2. You have to keep it 24 hours. It's room temperature in the formalin. Formalin, which is the universal fixative because it's the most common fixative. So formalin is referred as the universal fixative. So what is the advantage? Cheap, easy to prepare, tissue enzyme studies can take place, penetrates reasonably well, does not cause excessive hardening, used to store specimen. It is used routinely, so stents including immunohistochemistry. That is a really high level of staining. They can stain the immunohistochemistry. When you are staining with the antigen, antibody, and coloring with the fluorescence microscopy, this is very good. Blocks do not require washing before processing. You are going to learn what is the block. So when you are taking the tissue, you have to make the block for cutting. So that's why telling blocks do not require washing before processing. Best fixative for the nervous system. But what are the disadvantages? Everybody has an advantage, but there is a disadvantages too. Some of the safety concerns are can lead to the dermatitis and irritating to the nostrils. In 2021 is upgraded to known as a human carcinogen. So that's why you have to take very good protection so that you cannot get exposed through the nostrils or through the skins. Irritating vapors which burns eyes and damages mucous membrane. That is another because obviously we told you that our eyes and mucous membranes like where our export mucous membrane. Hmm? Except eyes where we have other mucous
Your
membrane.
nose, your mouth.
Nose. Good. Good.
Yeah.
So you have to be very careful on those parts too. Other disadvantages formalin leads to the formation of dark brown granules, sometimes unbuffered. That means if the pH, what is buffered means, is adjusted the pH 6.8 to 7.2. If the pH is high or low, it can form some dark brown granules which can give you the what is called the noise or impurity or false results. So that's why you have to always buffer the pH of the formalin. It is unsuitable for electron microscopy. Only you cannot use the formaldehyde for the electron microscopy. Okay. So another fixative, you have remembered the name glutaraldehyde. You know glutaraldehyde. Where you use this one glutaraldehyde?
So cleaning
And
for
use that
metal
on metal.
surfaces.
Cleaning for metal surfaces.
Metal surfaces.
Yeah. Only for the electron microscopy, you can use the 2% buffered glutaraldehyde. This penetrates purely but gives overall good cytoplasmic and nuclear details because in electron microscopy you are looking at the nuclear level, DNA, RNA, cytoplasm, everything. It's not only you are looking the cell only. What is the looking? Is a gram positive or gram negative, or this is the staining or the shape or structure. It's going to give you the entire details about the cells. You mean inside the mitochondria, how it looks like. You can see all the pictures they give you, how the ribosome looks like, how the endoplasmic looks like, how the protein synthesis is happening, everything through the electron microscope. So that's why you doesn't need the harsh fixative. You need a fixative, which is a very good one. As it shows, it penetrates slowly, but it gives overall good cytoplasmic and nuclear details. Must be cold, buffered, and fresh. Preferably sectioned within the glutaraldehyde at a thickness of no more than 1 millimeter to enhance fixation. Not good for immunohistological staining with decreases. So that's why you need different types of fixative. So if you have one tissue, it came, you need to do the electron microscopy and you need to the histochemical staining and you need for other structure. So you have to section the tissue and you have to fix in different fixative. If there is a need of electron microscopy, you have to fix it in the glutaraldehyde. If you have to do the structure and generally the overall structure composition of the tissue, you have to do the formaldehyde. If you need some immunostaining, that is not bad for the immunostaining what is called formaldehyde. So another fixative, those are the two aldehyde fixative. One is formaldehyde and is glutaraldehyde. Now, mercurial fixative is contains mercury. We have the zinc fluid. We have learned this one before. Mercury chloride. It penetrates relatively poor and cause some tissue hardness because mercury itself is a little bit thicker one and should not be stored in this fixative. First, and give excellent nuclear details. Best application for lymph nodes because they are very soft tissues, spleen, thymus, and bone marrow. So removal of mercury pigment prior to staining. So before staining, you have to remove the mercury through washing different steps. Its fixation time is 4 to 24 hours. Must be disposed of very carefully, mercury. Now, the picric acid. Why they put this one here? This a Bouin's fluid should come here. Picrates is called the Bouin's fluid as a fixative. It contains the picric acid. It is recommended for fixation of testes, GI tract, liver, muscle, and endocrine tissues. It doesn't require washing before staining. So after fixation, you can do the sectioning and other things. You can do staining directly. It must be kept under a layer of water because picric acid is explosive when dry. So you have to keep everything under a running water so that it doesn't dry. Next is alcohol. You have heard about the methanol fixation. So we sometimes you can do the ethanol and methanol fixation. This is the most popular fixative because commonly used for fixing cytological smears. Mainly the smear fixation is good when you are doing directly on the slide. That is the good for ethanol or methanol fixation. And some frozen sections since they act quickly and provide excellent nuclear details. Rarely used alone since they may cause tissue shrinkage and hardening. So what it does is acts as a reducing agent and become oxidized to acetaldehyde and then to acetic acid. That is okay. You doesn't need to know that one. So you know what is this one? Sign?
Oxidizing.
Why is it oxidizing? What it can cause?
It will be
Influx.
flammable, ma'am, once it's close to a heat source.
When there is a source of oxygen, any kind of ignition
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
Uh,
And then it can cause fire. That's why you say the O as the represent of the oxygen and the fire.
yeah.
There are a couple of oxidizing agents can be used. These are rare, but they use osmium tetroxide, potassium dichromate, potassium permanganate, and chromic acid. Except the osmium tetroxide, all these are used in the laboratory. Even the potassium dichromate used to use this one to cleaning the pipettes because this is very good cleaner. It even when you have to it can do the deionized. Sometimes if you have to do the any ion measurement or something in the we don't have the disposable pipettes, right? So you have to wash that one. So potassium dichromate is very good. Not at the strong one, but you have to make a dilute potassium dichromate solution and to dip the tips, not tips, everything, dips, glasswares, pipettes. Those you can put it there for 24 hours or 48 hours and then you can wash in running water and clean it. But anyway, here we can have the oxidizing agent kind of acids. These are kind of under the group of acids: potassium dichromate, potassium permanganate, and chromic acid. This allow the formation of stabilizing cross-link but may cause extensive denaturation. They are primarily used for as a secondary fixative, not the primary one. So, what the improper, if you doesn't do the fixation properly, what can cause? Causes of improper fixation. What can, maybe you doesn't have the insufficient reagent. You didn't put the sufficient reagent. It needs to be reached to fix everything, including the inside deep layer of the tissue. Poor penetration of reagent when the tissue has a capsule. Insufficient time, you didn't put the proper timing. Fixative not penetrating from all sides. Sometimes what you need to agitate or use the shake the tissue so that it can get the penetration properly. These are the different questions. Fixation result in the amine. That is, they told you, but I told you doesn't need it. This is a stupid one. It doesn't need it. Glutaldehyde, glutaldehyde. What is that? They told. What's a glutaldehyde? Cross-linking between amino acids and protein. So you can see from where you can get the answer. Amino acid and the protein of the tissues. Most widely fixative.
Alcohol.
Aldehydes.
Alcohol.
Aldehydes.
Which aldehyde?
Formaldehyde.
Formaldehyde.
Formaldehyde. Yeah.
So most widely used fixative is formaldehyde. Volume of the fixative should be at least
10 to 20.
of the volume.
Yeah, 10 to 20 times of the volume of the specimen.
Which is the best fixative for testicular biopsies?
Picret.
Quick.
Yeah. Yes. Picret, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Bouin's fluid is called the picrets or Bouin's fluid. Okay. Good. Okay. pH, what is the pH?
6.8, 7.2.
Good. The best fixative for electron microscopy?
Glutaraldehyde.
Okay. Okay, so you guys can question this one. This one is done. Any question?
Nope.
No,
Okay.
ma'am, thank you.
Okay, so you can go for break and come back. Oh, what is
Did
this
you
one?
know that the first compound
Okay.
microscope was invented in the 1600s? Since then, scientists have used microscopes to understand the minuscule. I'm Andrew Chapman, and today we follow how laboratory professionals can spot disease by taking a very, very close look right here in the lab. Hey, I've got my visitor lab coat on today because today I am visiting Antonia in the lab. Antonia, what is your position here in the lab?
I'm the histology supervisor.
Excellent. And what lab is this called again?
This is the histology lab.
And what does that mean?
So here we handle specimens that are tissue.
And what kind of tissues would you see here?
So skin tissue, GI tissue, so gastrointestinal tissue, and gynecological tissue. Those are our top three major ones that we see. We also see oral tissue, which dentists submit.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm in the lab with Zach. Zach, what's your role here in the lab?
I am one of the senior medical laboratory technologists in the histology department.
And what does that mean? What do you do?
So on a daily basis, we get in samples from across the province, we process them, we gross them, we embed them, and we send them to doctors on slides for them to make a diagnosis.
What's the first step that happens once you get the specimen in?
The first thing we do is provide a gross examination for the pathologist. We're the last person to see the specimen intact before we section it, manipulate it, and cut it and put it onto the slide for the pathologist. After we provide the gross examination, it goes through a processing cycle. We We fix the specimen, we dehydrate the specimen, and we infiltrate the specimen with wax, which allows it to have more stability for when we do cut the specimen. After the processing cycle, we take it to an embedding station where we embed it into a block of molten wax. We solidify that wax, and that gives it even extra stability when it comes to cutting the specimen on the microtome. So then we take it to the microtome, which allows us to cut the specimen at 4 microns, which is essentially 1 cell's width thick.
How do you even
Very
see
thin.
that?
It's visible with the wax. It's very thin though.
And then that's when you run your test?
So yeah, after it's been cut, we float it out on a water bath to remove any folds or wrinkles, because everything is so small, so the smallest fold will show up very large on the microscope. So we float it out, pick it up on a slide, and then we stain it for the pathologist. After it's been stained, we cover slip it. That helps preserve it so it doesn't dry out. And then we're able to deliver it to the pathologist. The pathologist reviews the slide under a microscope, is able to determine a diagnosis for the patient. It gets entered into our LIS system, which then sends it out to the clinicians across the province.
When you run the test on these samples, what are you looking for?
One of the main things that we're looking for is cancer, but with the hundreds of types of samples that we get, there's hundreds of diagnoses that it could be.
Well, thanks a lot, Zach.
Anytime.
And thanks, Life Labs, for letting me come visit. Now, if you want to see more videos like this or see what goes on in the lab, check out medlabprofessionals.ca.
Oh dear.
Our bodies are made up of DNA. Did you know that DNA is a treasure trove of information?
This one. Okay. What is the? So we are going to the unit number 2 after your break, okay?
Okay, ma'am, thank
Okay,
you.
ma'am, thank
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Okay, miss, thank you. What time are we back?
30 minutes.
Okay, thanks, miss.
Okay. Okay.
Did you know that?
So, fascinating. I hope everyone is back. Let us start. Okay.
Speaker.
Yeah. So,
Paano may dito na connect?
so now we are going to need.
nakakorek dyan. Speaker siya nakakabit.
I think someone's speaker is on. Could you please take care of the speaker? Thank you. Okay. So we are going to unit chapter 2. So where we are going to learn about stages of tissue processing. So before looking at the microscope, we have to go through the different process to do the tissue ready for sectioning, staining, and ultimately to the seeing in the microscope. So first you have to cut the tissue. This is in a short one. Then you have to do the fixation of the tissue. Then after fixation, you have to remove the water content of the tissue. It's called the dehydration. After dehydration, you have to clear anything has been in the dehydration step. If there is something develops, you have to clear anything, unwanted things, unwanted deposition, it should be cleared. And then you have to infiltrate. That means you are going to put the tissue in somewhere, then you are going to embedding, and then finally crossing and cutting, then putting on the fixing on the slide, then you are doing the microscope analysis. So basically, any biopsy or autopsy patient came, then you are going to crossing. Cross means cross examination of the tissue. Then you have to see what type of tissue, everything, what you have to do the cut the tissue, what type of tissue, everything, what is going to come from your requisition or the pathology note, and then you have to check and do the gross examination. You have heard just right now in the video. That is called the grossing. Then you have to fix the tissue. Universal fixative is formalin. If you have to fix the formalin, it's 8 to 10 hours. If it is then after fixation, you have to do the dehydration of the tissue, because with the dehydration, you have to have to 4 to 6 hours, and there is changing 4 to 6 hours. Then clearing, xylene is the clearing. Anything you have to clear tissue nice and clear is 1 to 2 hours. Then you are going to embedding. It's going to be in the parafilm. It's a liquid parafilm. Then you are going to put the tissue, and the tissue is going to be secured, and it can be easy. It's soft at the time. At the same time, it's hard, so that you can use a knife to very fine, sharp edge knife to cut the tissue. Then you are going to make a block after the embedding. Embedding is not uniform, right? So you have to make a block, so the nicely fitted block which can fit in your instrument. Then is the cutting, then mounting means on the slide, then you are going to do the staining, and then you are reporting, you are giving to the histopathologist to look at the slide, and then they are going to look at the slide, they are going to find whatever is there, and they are going to report to the physician. At the same time is going to be charted in the LIS system. So what is gross examination means? Gross examination is done by a pathologist, not MLA or MLT. It should be done by pathologist or pathologist assistant or pathology technologist. consists of describing the specimen and cut into the pieces to about 3 to 5 millimeter thick. This is important. When you are grossing the specimen, what size you are going to cut the specimen. So grossing means general looking or observation of the specimen to describe from where the specimen is coming, what is the color, or something, all the description, physical properties you are going to, and along with the patient information, you have to note it down. So it's called the, and then you are going to slice the, if it is a big size, so you have to cut the tissue to 3 to 5 millimeter thickness, then place them into label cassette. So these are called the cassettes. So you are going to place them in the cassettes 3 to 5 millimeter thick and with the accession number and your information. Gross room. The size and features of the pathology gross room depend on the number of the specimen and the staff pathologist. It obviously how much samples you are getting, how many pathologists you have, so that it will depend the size and features of that room. The room should be large enough to permit safe work, so that you are taking the tissue, you are not going to slide each other, you are not going to hurt each other. So it's going to be well illuminated, so that you have enough light, it's ventilated, and with an exhaust fan to remove the formalin vapors, because ultimately you are going to fix them in a formalin, or the tissue is going to come in the formalin already. So gross examination, small specimens are completely submitted for processing. If the specimen size is less than 3 to 5 millimeter, it can directly submit for processing. If it is more than that, you need to cut into small pieces. Okay, may need to wrapped in the lens paper or placed between the sponges to prevent them from falling out of the holes of the tissue cassette. So sometimes these are so thin, if it is like that, so you are going to put them in a lens paper and then you are going to put inside a cassette, so that these small pieces doesn't go out from the cassette strainer or the cassette small holes, falling out of the holes of the tissue cassette. If it is too small, then the cassette holes that you can visualize, that is the gross examination. If you see this is too small that it can fall out from the cassette, you are going to lose the sample. So you are going to put a lens paper, the tissue on the lens paper, and then you can put it there. And these are the cassettes. The cassettes enclose the tissue but have the holes to allow the processing reagents to enter. So tissue is secured here. Tissue is not going to go one and here or there. You have all the accession number, date, and everything. And then you are going to, the tissue is inside, is blocked, but it has the holes back and forth, so it can go, the fluid for the processing can go inside the cassettes. And then these cassettes are placed initially on a fixative. So when a malignancy is suspected, the specimen is often covered with ink in order to mark the margins of the specimen. So if you see the malignancy, they are going to mark it with the ink, so that they can understand which area is more important to look at. Different colored inks can be used to identify different areas if needed. These dyes will be visible when the tissue cut and reviewed under a microscope. So these dyes are so permanent that you can go through the several process of fixation, embedding and everything, but this dye will be there. So that when you cut the tissue, you can see, okay, this area is more important. When you are going to see under the microscope, you can see this area. So that marked area, the pathologist can give more focus to make sure these areas were more troublemaker or has the malignancy. Next is decalcification. Decalcification means any tissue has some calcium, especially the bone tissue, scar tissue, kidney tissue. So for the bone marrow biopsies, it needs to be decalcified. Otherwise, it will be difficult to process. It's going to come as a crystal, and it cannot be helpful to examine the tissue. So will result in torn and ragged section and damage the cutting edge of the microtome, because calcium, I told you, like a hard crystal. So the microtome knives are very fine, fine, fine. It can cast the section up to 3 micrometer, 5 micrometer, 4 micrometer. You heard that one. So, but if the calcium is hard, it's crystal, so it's going to damage not only the tissue, and when it's kind of like a stone, right? In the soft tissue, in a stone, you are cutting something, but the knife is going to be damaged. At the same time, the area is going to be, in the tissue area around that crystal deposit is going to be torn and cannot be useful for your diagnosis. So decalcification. So there are some steps for doing the decalcification. Before the decalcification, tissue must be well fixed. Otherwise, the cell morphology will be destroyed by strong decalcifying liquid. So cells, the tissue has to be fixed properly, so that because the decalcifying agent has more strong effect, because it is taking out the calcium from the tissue. So the fixation should be so hard that it cannot overrule the decalcifying agent. Only the calcium can be taken out. Over decalcification causes tissue distortion. So you have to be very careful. This is the different steps. If you too much over decalcification, tissue will be distorted and you can get poor staining. Again, the duration of the treatment. So that means you can assess, then you are telling me that decalcification needed and is called to destroy the tissue. That's why for different types of specimen, you have different types of decalcification time or metro or concentration. Decalcification varies with the type of specimen being examined. What is the ratio? Is 50 to 100 is to 1. So tissue should be checked every 2 to 3 hours in a decalcifying liquid. Tissue must be washed well after decalcification process to remove all the decalcified fluid. What are the decalcifying agents? Formic acid. Formic acid is a weak organic acid. It is gentle and causes little tissue damage, but it takes time. It's weak, so it's going to take time. So, formic acid is weak. It's organic, 25% to 25%. So, and it is a good one, but it takes long time. It's a very gentle decalcifying agent. Gooding Stewart's fluid. What is that? It is the formic acid and formalin. We have another type of decalcifying agent is called the nitric acid or hydrochloric acid. These are very strong organic acid. These are mainly used for the bone tissue. The acid reacts with the calcium in the tissue to form soluble calcium salts. Decalcify fairly rapidly. As a result, decalcification process must be carefully monitored to avoid tissue damage. So after you do properly fix the tissue, if you need really the bone tissue or quickly, so you can do that one, but it has to be very clearly monitored time-wise, because this is very rapid and very strong acid for the decalcification. So basically for your decalcification, you need an acid, whether it is a formic acid, 25%, or you can use the Gooding Stewart's fluid, which is formalin and formic acid, and nitric acid and HCl is a very strong. We have other decalcifying agents, not the acids only. We have the EDTA. You guys know EDTA, a chelating agent we used. Why do we use that EDTA as anticoagulant?
CBC samples, ma'am.
And another one?
ESR, reticulocyte. Yeah, hematology, ma'am.
Hematology, which another tube color we use EDTA?
Pink tube, blood
The
banking.
Tall pink for the group
blood
and
bank.
reserve. Yes,
Yeah.
good. So there is the same principle. They binds the calcium and that prevents the coagulation because calcium is one of the major factor for doing the helping or aiding or initiating the coagulation. So EDTA, we can use this one. EDTA is very gentle, very slow. It may take several weeks. It's called the RDO or Sargipad. This is have the ACL and some other additives. It depends upon whatever they are taking. Van Ebner's fluid is a very strong one, concentrated HCl and sodium chloride plus 100 ml of no, 1000 ml of distilled water. So they are using hydrochloric acid, sodium chloride, and 1000 ml of distilled water. So these are not used too much. Mainly the EDTA is take long time. The very fine, which can tissue can be damaged easily EDTA, but mainly the acids are being used. Mainly the formic acid, rarely for the bone tissue, hydrochloric or nitric acid, or the formalin with the formic acid. So endpoint of decalcification, over decalcification can also permanently damage specimen. That's we have already discussed. This step, how can do that? Control, how you can control this one? Probing the tissue and testing its pillability can be used to estimate if further decalcification is required. And chemical testing is performed to check if there is calcium in the decalcifying solution. If present, the solution should be changed. So you are checking the decalcifying solution by X-ray to see if there is any calcium. If there is calcium, you can change. That means it has been, the solution is already did work and the calcium has came out from the tissue, so you can change that one, not keeping it for a long time. And you can change the X-ray. X-ray can tell you the tissue whether there is a calcium is there or not. Next step is dehydration. You have to take out the water out from the tissue. So dehydration is the controlled removal of water from the tissue. So it can be infiltrated with wax. So if there is water there, the wax, which is embedding media where we are going to embed the tissue, cannot go in. So that's why you need to remove the water from the tissue. How can remove the tissue water? Use the alcohols and raising the alcohol percentage from lower to higher grade. So tissue is placed in increasing series of alcohols or ethanol mainly. What are the 70%, 85%, 90% to absolute or 100% alcohol. The another name of the 100% alcohol is called the absolute alcohol. And with the 3 to 4 changes to remove water. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a 4 changes. So water removal should be gradual. Why? If you put directly, you can ask me why you cannot put in the 100%. If you put in the 100% directly, there will be sudden shrinkage. So that's why you have to go slowly, slow treatment. So water removal should be gradual to prevent the shrinkage and distortion of the tissue. If you put in the 100% alcohol, suddenly it's going to shock to the tissue. So yes. Yeah. There will be the different jars like you do the staining. You see the staining jars, right? In the lab. Yeah, so you are going to dip it and come in, bring it out, dip it and bring it out. So you are going to take from the 70% to 85% the slide, tissue or slide, then from 80 or the cassettes. You have the cassettes right here. In the histology, you see the cassettes. So you can dip the cassettes 70%, stay there for some times, whatever is recommended for different types of tissue. Then you are going to transfer to 85%, then 95%, then absolute alcohol. So that's the cassette. The tissues are inside the cassette. Okay? Okay, sure. Okay. Okay. So water removal, that's what I told, is gradual. What are the other dehydrating agents we use? This is the acetone and dioxin. Acetone is very fast, but it's a fire hazard. So if it's safe only for a small hand process setup tissue, which you are going to process by hand, not through the cassettes or anything, because it's a fire hazard. It's also a good smell. Acetone you guys use, right? This one for the nail polish remover, acetone. Yes. Yeah. Dioxin. I don't like the smell. Yeah. And the dioxin can be used without clearing but has toxic fumes. So you can do the dioxin where the tissue is very, very much small or hard to get that one. That time you doesn't need the clearing agent. What is the clearing agent? For the calcium one, right? So if there is a very small amount tissue and you doesn't like to go through all this process, you can use the dioxin. But the fumes are highly toxic. So if you have the proper ventilation or proper P or all the necessary structures, then you can use the dioxin. So clearing is the removal of dehydrating agent. That's the ethanol with a substance that will miscible with both the dehydrating agent and the paraffin wax. So you are going to remove all the basically water. Dehydrating means remove water so that paraffin wax can infiltrate that areas. The term clearing relates to the clear and translucent appearance of the tissue of treatment with the clear agent. When all the water has gone, you can see the tissue looks like transparent. That is the clear. All the other things has gone. Tissue is transparent. The common clearing agents are xylene and toluene. So xylene can be mixed with both ethanol and also can wax. So any step of water left over in the tissue from the dehydration step would cause the tissue to appear cloudy. So what you can do, if the dehydration process with the alcohol is not proper, whenever you put that cassette in the xylene, it will appear cloudy. That means you can understand that tissue didn't dehydrate it properly. If the tissue is totally dehydrated through the alcohol gradation, then you can see when you dip the tissue in the xylene, stay clear. That's why any step of how you are going to check whether you have the dehydration is done. So if you put the tissue in the xylene and become cloudy, that means the dehydration step is not done properly. Tissue still has remaining some water inside. So any step of water left over in the tissue from dehydration step would cause the tissue to appear cloudy. So now impregnation with wax. The clear agent is replaced with the embedding agent. Now you have the clearing agent xylene or toluene. So after that, what you have to do? You have to put it in the embedding agent. What is the embedding agent? Paraffin wax. So wax, it's solid in room temperature. So you have to put them in around the temperature 50 to 60 degrees so that it stays melted. So for waxing, you have to keep the paraffin wax at the melting point, which is around 50 to 60 degrees centigrade. Then you are going to immerse the tissue in the wax for 3 to 4 hours in the liquid wax. What is the common paraffin wax we use? Is called the Paraplast. Name is Paraplast. It's a common reagent and is a mixture of highly purified paraffin wax and plastic polymers. It's a highly purified paraffin wax. Wax needs to be filtered after each set of samples. When you done one set of samples, then maybe some debris or these or broke down from so every time when you run a set of sample, this liquid wax needs to be filtered. So vacuum can be applied inside the tissue processor to assist penetration of the embedding agent. so that you can, and vacuum, sometimes slow vacuum, help the tissue to get proper embedding inside the paraffin wax. So generally fixation, what is the time limit from this one? Fixation, dehydration. Dehydration is takes couple of hours, right? So first 10% formalin, you can put it 1 hour, then 70% ethanol for the dehydration 1 hour, then you are going to 85% or 1 hour, 95% 1 hour, then 100% ethanol 1 hour. So then you are going to put again 100% ethanol 1.5 hours for the proper dehydration. Last 3 times you are going to put in the 100% ethanol. Is a total of 4 hours total in the only 100% ethanol, 1.5, 1.5 and 4 hours. And before that, 1, 2, 3. So 3 and 4, 7 hours you only need for the dehydration step. Then you are going to put in the clearing agent, that is the xylene, with the 2 times 1 hour and 1 hour. Then you are going to put in the paraffin wax for the embedding, half an hour, and then again half an hour. Paraffin wax 1 hour, 1 hour. Ultimately was infiltration. This is the infiltration is going on inside. Embedding. What is the embedding? The process by which tissues are surrounded by a medium such as agar, gelatin, or wax. When you are putting that one, the tissue is surrounded by this medium, which solidify will provide sufficient external support during the sectioning. The tissue is soft, even you do all the processing is soft. Or the bone tissue and other, they're hard, they have to decalcify. After you decalcify, they become soft. They cannot get support to cut in the cutting stations. So that's why you need to embed them. Embed them in such a medium which is flexible, it's hard, giving enough support, but it's not like the crystal or stone, so that it can be, this paraffin can be also cut along with the section. And these paraffins or the embedding media gives a better support for sectioning of the tissue. So then an MLT removes the tissue out of the cassette, place them in a mold, pour molten paraffin over them. You saw that one. Embedding, the embedding process is very important because the tissues must be oriented and aligned properly in the block of paraffin in order to be sectioned. So how you are going to do that? So correct orientation of tissue is a mold, is the most important step in the embedding. So what is the dorsal side? What is the ventral side? How you are going to put in the tissue? So pathologists or the who are doing the histopathology lab, they have all the instructions, which tissue, how to place the tissue. So then it is dependent on the sectioning. How in section the tissues are going to be appear. So embedding center, whole place to solidify tissue wax, then warming plate and mold holder are heated. And this is the heated chamber. So it is the mold holder. So you are going to take this one and then you are going to put them in the mold holder, the tissue. And then you are going to put them 1.5 hours to that. And then how you are going to do that? This is the cassette. So how you are going to, this is the things, you are going to take the tissue, you have the cassette, then you have the liquid wax on the hot plate, and then you are going to put that tissue and leave it for 1.5 hours. What are the embedding agents we are using? Paraplast, we are already told you, is the most common parafilm, but they have added some plastic polymer to give a little bit flexibility and the support. It gives the elasticity and better prevents compression of a knife blade. Reduces shattering and clipping of chipping of section. It's not should be clipping. Shattering means when you are cutting, it's not getting shattered. It should be how the tissue structure is going to come like that. It's not going to crack. How I'm going to tell you. So it's shattering means the tissue is going to become exactly how is embedded. It's not going to be little bit spreading around, up or down or laterally, and that won't be so chipping or clipping of the section. Resin is useful for the decalcified or delicate tissues. It has no paraffin, so more relaxed to knife compression. So resin is a little bit soft, and these are the decalcified, mainly the decalcified tissue which has the kidney, you have the what is called bone, this type of tissue can be after decalcification, the dehydration, you can go for the resin embedding, and cellulose embedding only with an electron microscope. Electron microscope doesn't allow any of the resin or the paraffin. You have to use the cellulose embedding for the electron microscope. Electron microscope knives are very hard. So these are the different types of cassettes where can you do the embedding of the tissue. So these are the molds, different types of mold depending upon the tissue size, shape. Then you are going to put this one here, and then you are going to put the cassette there. So it's going to make a mold. Now you are ready for sectioning. You got the mold now inside the paraffin. So you can see inside the paraffin, the tissue is inside. So you are going to do the microtomy. What is microtomy? Means sectioning. Once the tissue have been embedded, they must be cut into section, and then it will be placed on a slide. The instrument which used to do the sectioning of the tissue, embedded tissue, is called the microtome. Tome means cutting, micro means small, thin, very thin. Micro means very, very small, and tome means which is the cutting. So microtome. Microtome has a very sharp knife blade used to cut 3 to 5 micron sections of tissue in wax. So this is important. What section thickness we have to do? 3 to 5 micron sections of tissue in the wax. The tissue section is floated on a 45. You have shown that video. So after you do the section, you are going to float at 40 to 45 degree water bath, and then placed into a level glass slide, because it's coming with the embedding media, right? The wax. So what you are going to do, because it can be little bit wrinkle, it's going to be one over another because it's continuous section. Then you are going to float them in the water, and then you're going to place the slide beneath the section, and the section is going to come on the slide, and it's going to be stay there, and then it's going to be dried. Slides is dried to prevent the tissue section from falling off. So once that is done, you are going to leave the slide to dry properly. So microtome looks like this. You have the blade here. You are going to put the tissue here. You are going to do the sectioning here, and all the things are coming here. Then you are going to take it and put it in the floater. So how the sections comes? You can see the block. In the block, the tissue is there. Inside the tissue is the paraffin block. You are using the knife here. From here top, you are cutting, and it's coming like this. Long ribbon, and you are taking this ribbon, and then you are going to place it in the floater. You can see there is a 45 degree, 38 to 42-degree temperature. You are going to put the sections here, and then you are going to put the slide beneath that one and capture that one. See. So once you take this one from the water, then you are going to place the slides in a warm oven for 15 minutes so that the section can be really fixed on the slide to help the section adhere to the slide. If this heat might harm such things as antigens from immunostaining, this step can be bypassed and glue-coated slide used instead of pick up the sections. So sometimes there is some very glue-coated slides. Either when you are use the antigen immunostaining for the immunostaining, this heat may cause damage, may interfere with the results. So that time what they are going to do, there are some glue-coated slide is available nowadays. So you can put the sections from that. If you know, you have to do the immunohistochemistry. Next, staining. Staining process makes use of variety of dyes that have been chosen for their ability to stain various cellular components of the tissue. So there are different types of dye, and you are going to use the dye what you are like to stain, which cellular component you are interested or need to stain for the diagnosis by the doctor. So what is the most routine stain in the histopathology laboratory? Is called the H and E stain. It comes from the hematoxylin and eosin. Hematoxylin and eosin or H and E stain is the very most common and basic stains in the histopathological laboratory. So there are other stains also can be used. Those are called the special stains because sometimes they are employed in specific situation according to the diagnostics need, what I told you before. So most labs and automatic stainer performing this stain, but it can be also performed manually. Now they have the automatic stainer because we don't have this one. We have to stain everything with manually in hand. But anyway, now you have the automated stainers. They have all the things. You are going to put the cassette, is going to move from one to another, one to another, one to another. But when you used to do the manually, we have to hold all the slide jars, and then you have to do everything manually by dipping and up, dipping and up, dipping and up. How you did the gram stain. So staining, before staining begins, the embedding process must be reversed in order to get the paraffin wax out of the tissue to allow water-soluble dyes to penetrate. So now you put, see, so many things. You put the paraffin because so that you can section the tissue, right? Because you cannot section it. But now, if the paraffin is there, the water-soluble dyes cannot go inside the cell and can stain. So now, once you fix on the slide, you have to now again deparaffinize the, or call the rehydration, bring to the water. So that's why I say before staining begins, the embedding process must be reversed in order to get the paraffin wax out of the tissue to allow the water-soluble dyes to penetrate in the section. This step is called deparaffinized or rehydration. Bring to water, usually done through xylene or substitutes to alcohols to water. So there are no stains that can be done on tissue containing paraffin. No stains is going to hold because it's a paraffin coated. Nothing can go in. So what you have to do, 3 changes of xylene, 5 minutes each. So after you have the tissue on the slide, you have to have xylene for 5 minutes each. Then you are going to do the 2 changes of 100% ethyl alcohol. Now you are going to the downgrade. Before you did the, for dehydration, you went from 70% to 100%. Now what you are going to do, you are going to, after you done the embedding cross section and everything slide, you are going to do the reverse thing. This is called a deparaffination of the tissue. You are going to put them again in the xylene. Then after xylene, you are going to put in the 100% ethyl alcohol or the absolute alcohol for 5 minutes. Then you are going to go back to 95%. For dehydration, you need 1 hour time for each one. But here, rehydration, you can do with 5 minutes each. So 100% ethyl alcohol for 5 minutes, then but with 2 changes. 90%, 95% with 2 changes per 5 minutes, and then 70% ethanol for 5 minutes. Now the tissues all the paraffins and other things has gone, tissues are good to get the penetration of the dye. And then ultimately you are going to use the deionized water for 1 minute each. Now you can stain the tissue slide. So the stain can be performed regressively or progressively. Regressively stain, overstain. The slide left in the solution for a set period and excess dye is removed selectively until desired intensity is reached, such as acid alcohol. And progressive stain, the slide is dipped in the hematoxylin until the desired intensity of staining is achieved. So it's going to be a regressive stain left in a solution a specific set of time. Then the excess dye is removed selectively using an acid alcohol. Automated stainer, one of the benefits of using an automated staining instrument is that agitation, wash, drain times, and consistent. Providing other variables are promptly controlled will ensure good consistent result because it's doing by itself, right? You don't see the manual errors are not there. So hematoxylin and eosin is one kind of regressive stain. That write it down. They are going to give an example. Hematoxylin xylene is a regressive stain or progressive stain. It's a regressive stain. So first you have to dip the slides after rehydration in the hematoxylin. Staining time will depend on the type of hematoxylin, from where you are using it, also from the nature of the tissue, what you are doing. So if the positive is a regressive staining method, the sections are overstained, then excess dye is removed by placing in acid alcohol solution, 1% HCl and 70% ethanol. This step is called differentiation. What is differentiation means? When you remove an excess dye using the acid alcohol is called the differentiation. When you are putting in some tissue can stain properly, sometimes can be overstained. So overstained slide basically has to be differentiate using the acid alcohol, and the acid alcohol percent is 1% hydrochloric acid and 70% ethanol. So place slides in an alkaline solution which will turn the nuclear stains from reddish brown to blue. Example is called the bluing agent. Tap water may be used but will take longer. So wash well in tap water, and then you are going to do the counter stain is eosin solution. This may be 1% aqueous on an alcoholic solution. So eosin is dissolved in 1% eosin in the alcoholic solution. So dehydration slides dipped in 80% to 90% alcohol differentiate the eosin until the background has different shades of pink. Slides then transferred to 100% absolute ethanol alcohol, clearing. Transfer the slides through 3 changes of xylene. Whatever is short, slide is ready for cover slipping with permanent mounting media. Xylene plus water means cloudiness. That means if there is any water in the tissue, it's going to be cloudy. Staining. Hematoxylin stains nuclei blue and cytoplasm pink or red. So these are the nuclei. This question comes. Hematoxylin stains H and E stains. The hematoxylin or H stains the nucleus as blue color, whereas the eosin stains the cytoplasm as pink or reddish pink. Tissue components such as red blood cells, collagen, and muscles are all stained in varying shades of pink. So it depends upon different types of shades of pink. Then cover slipping. The stain slide must be covered with a thin piece of plastic or glass to protect the tissue from being scratched. provide better optical quality for viewing under the microscope, and preserve the tissue section for years. So can done manually, but most histology lab has an automatic cover slipper. Again, the advantage of automatic method is fast and protects the lab worker from fumes. What is that? Xylene and or xylol. So this is the automatic cover slipper. So mounting media is placed on the slide and cover slip is angled and gently lowered. You guys did that. Now you know. You are going to put some whether wet smear, but on the tissue you are going to put some mounting media, and then you are going to start it from one side to slowly dip in that, so there will be no air bubble. Alternately, the mounting can be placed on the cover sleeve and side lowered onto the cover sleeve. Okay, so they said you can do that, putting the mounting media also on the cover sleeve, but it's not easy because whenever you are try to put that one, the mounting media started to fall and spread around. So it's better to put in the slide and then do the cover slipping. It is important that the cover slip side has no air bubbles under the cover slip. Air bubbles will obscure microscopic viewing of the tissue section, and also cover slips can be removed by soaking the cover slip into the xylene. What's wrong? Is there anything wrong? What didn't stain here?
The nuclei.
Yeah,
So,
nucleus.
so only the hematoxylin has
Only
been
the A.
stained.
Yes.
It didn't stain the nuclei with the hematoxylin. All the eosin has
Right.
been stained.
Yeah.
So this is so this is you guys for reading how it looks like. Cookies. So here is the all the steps, how it looks like. You can see how nicely stained the nucleus and different types of cell, different types of nucleus, how is the cytoplasm, depending about the different tissue. So you can read this one, done. Okay, then what is the next? Unit 3. How many units we have?
I believe there's 5.
5 is for exam. You want to learn unit 3 today or you want to do it tomorrow?
Tomorrow, ma'am. Thank
Okay,
you.
so you can do the unit 3 and 4 tomorrow.
And
Then
we're
you can
done.
do the test on Wednesday.
Yes.
Or
Yeah,
do you
we
guys
still
want
have
to
1 hour.
Yeah, honestly, I think we should just get the next unit over with so we can work on the review tomorrow if there's a review. Or just to review all the material.
Okay, ma'am. Maybe we can have the review on Wednesday and have the finals on Thursday.
Yeah, because we still have 1 hour left, so we might as well.
Yes, still have time.
So you want to do some review, whatever you will learn today, right now, and then we can do the 2 and 3 tomorrow, and then Wednesday you can do the final review.
Sounds good to me, ma'am. 3 and
That
4
sounds
tomorrow. Yeah.
So learn
We
unit
review
3
on.
and 4 tomorrow.
Yeah.
Then
And
Wednesday you are going to
review.
get time for the review, everything.
Right.
So today you can do whatever you will learn right now. You can do all the reviews. Okay.
Yeah.
sounds good.
We have
Yes,
Yeah.
some
please.
readings to
Then
do.
yeah. Then you can get, and also by this time you have time. You have the what is called as assignment.
What
Oh,
assignment?
yes.
Cytology
We have
assignment.
assignment too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
It's the
What
cytology
assignment?
assignment.
What assignment?
Cytology.
Cytology, histology, cytology assignment is already D12. That she told me. Chris told me.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
Chris told me.
So it's okay to submit that on Friday, ma'am, after
You
the
guys have a
exam.
lot of time. Today is not that
Yeah.
much slides, so you can work today and tomorrow also. So if you can,
Yeah. It's
No,
really
well,
nice to read.
or submit it on Thursday. Okay.
Thursday. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Once
It's a
we're done.
test. When is
Yeah,
the
once
test?
Thursday.
Thursday.
Thursday's the test.
Yeah, we have the full day on Wednesday to review.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when do you want us to submit the assignment, Miss?
Anytime you want me to do before Thursday.
Anytime after Thursday.
No, before Thursday. Thursday midnight is the last day time.
Yeah, that's okay, ma'am. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right.
Okay. So you guys have time now. Even you can start working on the assignment or review, whatever you time. You have a lot of time now.
Okay, no problem. Thank you,
Okay.
Yes,
Miss.
ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Oh, this team is killing me. Yeah.
Ma'am, I have a question regarding the microbiology assignment.
মালিশ করবি? মালিশ করতে হবে কিছু? Three, you need to set to classification, microbiology, cytology. Two, need one. In fluid. SBOUIN, SBOUIN, split. Radio is Yes. Okay, it's this one. This one. Some college. See that one. Oh, that one up. Okay. 12. Alexia left. Nice.
Was she ever here?
I don't know. I saw her a little bit, but I didn't see her face or anything. No response. Only she put the raise hand. That's all.
Oh.
Yeah, I've seen her name earlier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
class was at
But
21 earlier. I don't know
huh?
where she left
Hello?
now.
Huh?
No, I was just mentioning that, yeah, the class was at 21 people earlier, but I don't know where she could have gone to, so.
No, she came late. Sabana came late. Ishiana came late. Everybody came late. So, but Alexia came, but I don't know. She's left already.
Ma'am, sorry. Actually, I joined on time, but then there was two classes going on, and I was in the B Nation everyone's class for like almost 21 minutes. I was writing that. Please, I'm on a call, honey.
Okay.
I was in the call, and it was me, and there was, I think, two other people, three other people there. I was there for like almost 21 minutes, and then as soon as I
Now
think
they have
minded
changed to new team, so be careful. You have some problem. So now you have to join
Yeah,
in the
because
new
we were
team.
there and then we were waiting, and then I realized like it was almost like three, four of us there. And then after 21 or almost like 30 minutes, we realized like there's two classes. And then I tried to join that one. And then that's why I was late.
How is your feet now?
Still swollen. It's still blue black. Like it's turning purple. It was very like dark. But now the blue black is going more to the purple side, greenish. I think it's healing. I have an appointment later at 2 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah. I just actually just missed one staircase and then just twisted it.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Regarding the microbiology, ma'am, do we still need to send it to you in Outlook?
Which
Or
one?
the microbiology assignment?
It's already D12, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't get time to do that one. I am still marking your
Okay.
things. If I don't get it in the D12, whom I will let you know. Okay. So your things are ready. If I don't get anyone's, then I will let you know so you can send it. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thanks.
Because right now I am trying to help you for the cytology review. That's why I cannot go
Yeah.
to marking you. So
Oh, yeah.
too many things.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Appreciate that.
No, it's okay, dear. Let me see.
Yeah.
somebody has to leave early. They should inform me. Without notice, this is very difficult for me. So now I have to write a note. They left early without notice. I don't want to this type of things. Uh, now we have two of this one. Okay. Home page, attendance, cytology. Mm. Campus login.
Mm.
Hi, team. You can continue your study or due to your time for the class is okay. So whatever you guys want to do, you guys want to do, study more, do later. But this is the best opportunity you can complete the assignment as well as your review on time.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you,
Yes,
Yeah.
Miss.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank
Working on
Okay.
it.
you. See
Working
you
on it.
Okay.
tomorrow.
Yeah, I am asking
Thank you,
for
ma'am.
yours too. Okay, no
Thank you, ma'am.
problem.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it.
Thank you
Okay,
so much,
okay,
Thank
miss.
you.
okay,
Thanks.
okay,
Thank you,
Bye-bye
Thank
ma'am.
now.
you.
okay, bye.
Okay,
Thank you,
bye.
guys.
Have a good day, everyone.
Bye.
Have a good
Bye.
day.
You
Bye.
too. Have a good day. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.